Calcio is back this weekend. Hello and welcome into the Calcio Connection podcast. We are connecting with you, Italian football fans from all over the world. I am Alex Donno. He's Jerry Mancini, and we have the pleasure of being joined by a man who continuously crushes it all over YouTube, all over social media. He taught me who Andy Diouf is, Inter's newest signing. Uncle Sharma is with us. Mr. Sharma, how you doing?
Oh, it's good to be back. It's good to be back on the Culture Connection pod. I was so happy when you guys announced that you were returning because it used to be part of my routine, just listening to you guys every week. So I'm glad to be part of the return.
Well, thank you for being here. And Jerry, thank you for being here as always. I know you've been you've been doing a lot of I was going to say babysitting, but I don't think we call it babysitting when it's your own child. But you're hanging out with
a lot this
with your
week.
dog.
My wife was sick, so that I felt what she goes through, and then I have a lot of respect for my wife and the mothers out there because they do more than I've ever thought of when they're off for a year, and I'll keep it at that, man. It was a busy 3-4 days with my daughter, but I enjoy every minute, so I can't complain.
I love that. And so we had to bring in Uncle Sharma because after all of these stalled and failed negotiations in Inter's mercato for the past couple of months, they finally signed someone. And Sharma, like it feels like they pressed the easy button for this one because we didn't have to hear for several days about, oh, here was an offer that was made, but it was too low. And maybe the other team doesn't want to sell the player. So just basically out of nowhere, Inter signs midfielder Andy Diouf from Lens in France. So, I mean, how long was this player a target? Because I feel like the first I heard of it was right when he was getting signed.
Yeah. No, they didn't release this one. They didn't leak this one to the press. So it was a surprise to everyone. And I feel like these are the most enjoyable ones, right, Alex? Like, remember when we signed Hakimi and it was like in the space of 24 hours, it was like Inter interested, and like later on Inter have signed Hakimi. So it was obviously to a much lower level of player and excitement than Hakimi, but it reminded me of that. So yeah, and that's what my video was. Is like, we finally signed someone.
Well, and what have you, because I'm sure you've taken a deep dive over the past couple of days, because again, this is a player, admittedly, I don't know a whole lot about. I've seen a couple of highlights on social media. He looks like he can dribble. He can go box to box. What have you learned about Diouf?
Yeah, so I was doing my scout report, which I'm hopefully getting out later today. So yeah, I tried to watch a couple of full games of his, downloaded some games of Lens from last season. And I was familiar with him from Basel, but I wasn't familiar with him with Lens. Like, I didn't even know he made that move. So yeah, he's an exciting player. Like you said, like the videos everyone's seeing him dribbling from like the edge of his own box to the edge of the opposition box. Like, that's something that Inter haven't had. Mkhitaryan does it, but obviously he's 36 years old now. So really exciting that finally we have some legs, some athleticism, some pace. Interisti have been like dying for this dribbling. But as I've been diving deep, Donno, I'll be real, like there is a lot to improve for the player. Like, he needs to improve his final product, his final touch, his passing, his overall play. He reminds me of basically Frattesi when we signed him from Sassuolo. But Frattesi didn't really make that next step in terms of his total ability. So I'm guessing what Inter have tried to do is like they wanted Manu Kone, but Roma won like, I don't know, 50 million. So they said, we'll basically try to make our own Manu Kone now.
Well, you got Jorge, who's on board on this signing, and he actually is an avid, big. He's a Lyon fan, and he watches Ligue 1 very thoroughly. We should try to get him on maybe for one show and just to get some perspective.
Doesn't he even owns a piece of Lyon? I'm sure. Maybe he's the majority owner. I'm assuming it's a small piece, but yeah, maybe he'll come on with us soon again.
Yeah. I'll say one thing. A lot of players that come from the French league are very underrated and turn out to be very good. And I always go back to the one player, Eden Hazard. And that guy was a stud when he left. I think it was Lille he played for, and then he went to Chelsea. And the biggest mistake in his career, it was leaving Chelsea, and then his career was never the same again. But I digress. I know that I can go on about that for another day. Love that player, but Yeah, there's a lot of good French players, like a lot of good players that come out of that league that you can get like a good signing, like a good deal for your dollar, right? And I think that's what Inter did here, is they really were patient on looking for a player that fits their budget, because they said they can only spend 80 million.
Only.
Well, that's what they say.
That's-
I saw only 80 million. I don't know what their accounting is anymore, man, because
No, that is the thing, Jerry. This summer we actually have money to spend, which is why it's been so frustrating for Donno and like all of us Interisti, because Inzaghi left, but funnily
Mhm.
enough, he left in the summer where we're like financially we're going to make a profit for the first time since I've followed Inter. I don't know if we ever made a profit before on the books, and we've got like the 80, 100 million, whatever figure you want to believe. There is a lot of money there to spend, so that's why it's been so frustrating. And again, this signing, I like him, but I don't know if you're on the same boat. I was wanting, now we've signed so many young players this summer.
Yeah.
I was hoping for someone a bit more established,
Yeah.
someone like Manu Kone, if it wasn't going to be Manu Kone. And it's not an Aslani replacement either, so I'm kind of confused as to what the plan is for the vice Hakan position.
Yeah, no, we'll get to that in a second, but I agree with you. I think like kind of the profile I was looking for, because obviously like Inter does have an issue with, you mentioned Mkhitaryan earlier, Cherby, like they do have too many players who are like way over 30. So I understand, and some people in the comments have said it's good that they're getting younger. I get it, but I think they need a mix of like the 22 to 24-year-old signings, but also get some 27, 28-year-olds who are actually in their prime. So I think so I agree with you. I think that's a profile that they need more of. But yeah, in terms of, you brought that up because Aslani, we know to Torino, which I think happened right before this Diouf move. So Diouf, he's like you're saying, he's not the Aslani replacement. So what do you see the role in the midfield he's going to play for Inter?
If we stick to the 3-5-2, then I see him as the left centre mid or right centre mid, Mkhitaryan, let's say backup, or the Frattesi, left centre mid or right centre mid. If we play the 3-4-1-2 or 3-2-1, the one that apparently Kivu wants to switch to, which I think we don't have the players for yet, then the double pivot centre mid, I don't see him as a CDM at the moment.
Let me ask. Sorry, let me ask one more.
I'll counter this.
Go ahead, Jerry.
I will counter something. You said that they're going too young, but you think that might be the right direction because they are an aging team too, right? Like, don't forget, like, there's a lot of old teams on it, a lot of old players on Inter. So I know you always want to win now, but when you always do that, eventually it catches up to you and it sets you back 4 or 5 years if you don't start. I think you need to win now, but in the same process, learn how to or try to adapt to building so you can sustain that kind of like pedigree that you're always trying to be competitive. So like you got Mkhitaryan, you said, he's aging, and Cherby is on his last leg. Your back line's aging, you know what I mean? Like it's not the youngest.
Yeah.
And your midfield's got a few aging players, and now all of a sudden Thuram, I've been reading like this might be his last season with Inter. Maybe I don't know what's going on with him, but like I remember 2 years ago, this guy was the talk of the world, and now all of a sudden Inter is planning to sell him. Is that true, or like it's funny how things can change in a year or two, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean the point in regards to age, Jerry, was more of what we've been buying. So we've bought Sucic is 21, Luis Enrique 23, I think, Boni's 21. So all the players that we bought this summer were all quite young, and none of them are starters yet. So again, we've bought another young player that's not really for the starting 11 at the moment by the looks of it. So that's what I think we're kind of alluding to. But yeah, it's nice to be younger, but then it reminds me of the Milan thing, what Milan have been doing the last few years. Every signing has been between that age range of 20 to 24, max money spent 15 to 25 million. Like that's what Redbird have been doing, and it looks like how Oak Tree are going to operate as well.
Well, let me ask you then a follow-up. What do you think is the next move? Because I hear about that they want to fortify the back line. So are there any names you're looking at, or could it end up being a surprise the way this last signing was?
Yeah, I think that by the looks of it, they want this one to be a surprise as well. Like they wanted this Diouf thing was a surprise. So it seems like they've been kind of reading all the abuse they've been getting online from Interista, and they're like, right now we're just going low key. We're going, full undercover mode, not letting anyone leak anything. So it looks like it's going to be another foreign. Well, one thing we can say is finally Inter are like buying from outside of Serie A, because we used to criticize them for only doing that. So I think it's going to be one of those names. They're saying the Leo guy, Alexandro, the Brazilian guy. That could be a name. I personally quite like the idea of Ryan Flamingo from PSV. I really like him as a centre back. But I just hope that it's not like just someone for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Like I want someone that's really there to challenge Acerbi and De Vrij for the long term, and not just there to like, oh, we've got money to spend, so let's just, I don't know, get a centre back.
Is it becoming harder and harder for a club like Inter to buy players within Italy? Because you mentioned you're happy that they're kind of going abroad to find more players, but then we've seen what happened the last 2 times they tried to buy players within Serie A. I mean, the saga with Atalanta was insane. And then, Roma with Kone looked for a couple days like it was going to happen, and then he's no longer on the market. So, I mean, I don't know. Do you feel like there's maybe a bit of an agenda here that Italian clubs like no longer want to strengthen rivals domestically by sending good players to clubs like Inter or Juve?
Yeah, you're right. I think you're getting that sense for sure. Italian clubs are not really, usually they're kind of known for helping each other with these like loan with obligation and options and blah, blah, blah. But now it seems to have changed where they're happy to sell to, Premier League teams. But also at the same time, Donno, we must admit, Premier League teams will come with actual money up front rather than creative deals that spread the cost over 15 years as a mortgage.
Yeah,
so
true.
You can see the other side of it. But yeah, I think the price has gone really through the roof. Like you've seen the other day, I don't know if you saw it, Cagliari sold Piccoli for 25 million plus bonuses to Fiorentina. Like the prices are just going through the roof for like just normal level Italian players.
Well, lucky for Lotito, he can't buy those guys.
Well, everyone's so scared of Lotito. No one's even negotiating for Lazio players anymore.
We're on a transfer ban. I think they're happy.
That's right.
But they're allowed to sell players.
That's right. Yeah.
They couldn't even, like Carlo Garganese always says, Lazio can never sell a jacket, a life jacket on the Titanic, okay? If they even had to. Like, that's how bad they are, man. Like, I digress. But that whole Lookman thing. So he goes back to Atalanta now. And how do you show your face after everything you did? You don't even try. He did this twice now. Like, and now the fans are saying that you have to honor the jersey. You need to play your ass off. And it's like, as a fan, how would you feel if this was your team? If that was Inter and Lookman was owned by Inter and did this, would you accept him back? And would you view him differently?
Sharma, it happened with Brozovic and it worked out pretty well.
Oh,
remember he was about to get on a plane to Sevilla, I think, and then Spalletti was like, "You can't get rid of this guy without a replacement." And then that was when Brozovic had the big turnaround.
That's true. That's true. I guess but we got to say at that time Brozovic wasn't that important to Inter. We were all kind of like, this guy doesn't seem like he's Inter material. Whereas with Lookman, I think we can confidently say that's their best player. Atalanta's best player. So. And after the summer they've sold Retegui, Ruggeri, they haven't really got any replacements in. Like they might have to just swallow it up again and just say, "Give us one more year, then we promise again, one more promise that we let you leave."
Like I should look up when Lookman's contract actually expires with Atalanta, because like as time progresses, his value might go down as his contract goes lower. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like, he's 28 now, so this is like the peak value you get from him.
So I don't understand. You think that had Inter offered 50 million, that they would have raised their price again, and they just didn't want to sell him to Inter no matter what? Like, do you think there was a threshold? They said that they would have sold them for any price outside of Serie A, but within Serie A, we don't know now because Inter just gave up. They never gave that 45 plus 5. They never got that far. But like, I'm just curious, right?
I thought that would have got the deal done. I was predicting that 47, 48 would have got the deal done, but from what we've heard afterwards, it seems like it was more like 60 for Italy and then 40 for like foreign teams.
It's the stupidest thing I see, man. I'm sorry. Italian owners are all out to lunch. Sell your player. Who cares if he goes to a rival in your league? Because if that scares you, then you have a lot of issues in order to compete with your teams.
Well,
like,
there's still about 8 days left in the window, Jerry. I'm not giving up on the
Yeah.
Lookman thing.
Well,
Oh,
and
buddy.
that's another thing, Jerry. You and
That's
I
the
were
point.
talking about this. We were talking about this before the show. In terms of the transfer window goes about a week into when the season already begins, and I think some seasons it went even longer, like into the year, where a couple weeks in you can still be buying and selling players. I mean, Sharma, would you like to see? And obviously, you're talking about all different leagues in Europe that start at different times, but would you like to see us reach a point where maybe at least in Italy, they make a rule that all of your transfer business has to be done before the season begins?
Yeah, no, 100%. It has to, like, so many coaches talk about it. It needs to happen at some point, but it's so difficult because all the leagues, or at least the top 5 leagues, need to agree across, because otherwise it becomes an advantage. If like the German league stays open a little bit longer, then there's a more advantage for them. So it has to be across the board. But I agree, I would make it happen if it was possible.
I will counter that then. When everyone's done their seasons, right? So let's just say May last day, Italy's last. So May 30. After that date, the transfer market now opens for all leagues because all leagues are done. Whoever starts first, that's when the transfer market closes. I don't understand what an extra 3 weeks is going to do when all these guys just talk bullshit for an extra 3 more weeks. That's all it is. Let's be honest, guys. The last 2-3 weeks have been, yeah, he might come. Yeah. Oh, he might come. Yeah. Like just like with Chelsea, Garnacho. That guy's been talked about for the last month and he still hasn't left Man United. Like, I just think that you have to have a firm date. And I think that if there's less time in the transfer market, it might push teams to do business quicker and get business done. Because if you give teams 6 months to do stuff, they'll just procrastinate. We see that in Italy about everything. So I just think that you should just have a firm date that everything opens when the transfer market is done. Like, so when the season's done and when the season starts, and I think all leagues should start at the same time, personally. I think it's stupid that one league starts first, the other one starts second. And I'm talking about the domestic big clubs. I'm talking about like England, La Liga, the Italian league, the French league. Like, I think they should all start the same week in it. My personal opinion. I know sometimes it's hard because of scheduling and all that stuff, but that's just me though. Like, I'm sure you can always make it work. Like, the transfer market can be cut by 3 weeks, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, the teams are so focused on who they're going to buy, who they're going to sign. They're not really focusing on what their team is going to be as of September. Now you go into September, and all of a sudden now, like, you're scrambling around trying to get players to understand each other, how to play with each other. I'm with Tudor. Tudor is the one who I saw basically brought it up the other day about this, and this is what he quoted. Honestly, I don't pay too much attention to whatever is circulating because it drives you crazy. Every coach goes crazy during this period, but I don't like the window still being open because it takes away certainties and concentration on our daily work, which is fundamental. We hope that this will be changed. The norm will be to close the window a week before the season starts. Then whatever will be, will be. Every coach wants to have the strongest players possible. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But you have to accept it and focus on what's happening on the pitch, on the things that you have. So I do agree with what Tudor is saying. Like, at the end of the day, you need time to integrate your team, your players.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So something else I was curious about with Sharma as we, take a look at the Serie A campaign coming up. Some places, sports books, maybe have Inter favored, some have Napoli favored to repeat, which is hard for me to argue with, given second season under Antonio Conte, and they have a clear plan. But with Napoli, Romelo Lukaku is going to miss some time here. Maybe 3 months. So, I mean, Sharma, how much do you think that that is going to affect Napoli being without Lukaku for a while, and how might that affect their Scudetto chances?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not the Lukaku that we remember at Inter from the first season, but still impactful, wasn't he? Last season, he was, I think he was joint top assister in the league, because the way Napoli played, we know they just, launch that ball to Lukaku, and he's the one that holds it off and brings other people into play. So he's still super vital. So let's see how Lorenzo Lucca has done this summer. We know Conte likes to train his strikers with his back to goal, make sure they learn how to play back to goal. That was the famous training quote, wasn't it? It was him and Ranocchia. He put Ranocchia on Lukaku in training to make the ball stick to him with the back to his goal. So yeah, let's see if Luca has done that this summer, and if he's learned how to do that properly. And he should add some threat, aerial threat in general. He's like 6'6", 6'7", I think he is. Massive, and he's really good in the air. So he's gonna, with De Bruyne crossing some balls in with that beautiful right foot, there's a new level of threat for Napoli. So I think they are gonna miss him. So I think they maybe get off to a slow start, and I think Conte usually loads his team very heavy in pre-season. So they usually get off to a slower start. We saw them I think they lost their first game of the season last year.
They did 3-0. I can't remember against who, but I remember like, wow,
Verona.
they got cooked.
Verona.
Yeah.
Memory, Jerry. Yeah.
That.
So I can see a slower start, or maybe I'm hoping for a slower start. But after that, I can see them bombing out of the Champions League as usual. I don't know. We know all about that.
Yeah.
And then focusing all their eggs on the Serie A. And I think, doing the double, doing back-to-back is what I see happening at the moment.
That might be one of the best. Hold on, that might be one of the best deals. Sorry, Alex. Because you're on the Lukaku train here. That might be one of the best deals that Inter ever made. Like selling him at the time when they did, and the amount of money, even though they got him back for a season, it only.
But that was on loan, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that was one of the best pieces of business that they've ever done. And now look, right, guys. So I asked you this then. You said that Conte has a very intense training. Do you think that kind of contributed to Lukaku getting injured in this friendly match that they played in, or did it just happen because it happened? Like, what would you draw it down to if you had to guess?
I think we saw with Lukaku the second time he came back to Inter, Donno, you remember he had a pretty big injury, similar one. I think it was like a thigh strain, but it kept him out for like more than a month. Or he came back and he got it again. So I don't know, his body might be kind of, he's been playing football for a long time. He broke through when he was 16 at Anderlecht. So he could be, his body's starting to kind of break down now. He's got a big physique, a lot of, mass on him. So yeah, it probably is a combination of a few things. Conte's training methods and Lukaku's aging body.
So something else. I know Sharma and I are not happy about this because this will guarantee at least one loss for Inter this season. But Sassuolo are back in Serie A, which is a notorious Inter bogey club. They're back in Serie A this year, and as Jerry noted to me, they have officially announced that club legend Domenico Berardi, it's still hard to believe he's been there his entire career. He just signed an extension there. He's 31 years old now. Assuming he plays out the full contract, he's under contract Sassuolo until he's 35 years old. And Jerry and Sharma, like you both know this, I'm going back like over the last 10 years, maybe longer. How many discussions have people who covered Calcio about, okay, what's Berardi's next club, right? Is he going to make the jump to a big Serie A team? Is he going to make a jump overseas? Somehow this guy's been Nero Verdi his entire career, Sharma. Do you feel like, should he be honored? It's like, the probably the only real Sassuolo club legend, or should people wonder if like he kind of wasted his career spending his entire career at a mid-lower table club?
Yeah, no, definitely. I've always said I wanted him to do that. I wanted him to be like this mid-table Di Natale for Sassuolo, and I'm glad it has panned out. He has tried, though. Some people make him out to be some guy that rejected all offers. He even put in a transfer request a few years back. He did try to push it at one point.
Forgot about that.
You forget why? when when he attacked those fans after the game. Do you remember that fight he had outside the stadium? And
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of the
yeah.
guys
So
oh
he has
my
some
god, I'll never.
criticism.
That was
Sassuolo fans, the few Sassuolo fans that exist.
yeah, like
But,
he's such a guy.
yeah.
He's had a good career with Sassuolo. You can't say he hasn't, but I just feel like when he was at the peak of his career, you like to see what he could have done with a bigger team. Though it's not that you want to see a guy play out in a mid-table team. It's the fact that as soon as they got relegated to Serie B, I would have thought that maybe he would have jumped ship and tried to test new waters and try to this guy never got to compete in Europa League, Champions League, Conference League, nothing. His biggest his biggest moment was screwing up for Italy and not scoring against what was it, North Macedonia? Like
Yeah.
like
Well, at
that
least he got a Euro. He got a Euros win. He
oh
was,
yeah,
he was
that's right.
decent in the Euros.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he can take that to his home, yeah. But yeah, I just sometimes wonder, but I guess sometimes it doesn't always work out better because players are built around a certain club. And when they try to go to a new team, it doesn't work out, right? So I'm sure
I don't know about you. I think if there was one move for him was instead of Kandreva, I think we should have signed him. I think that would have been the good move. But again, Kandreva got plenty of abuse for that time. Maybe it wouldn't have worked out for him in the Banta era.
That's true. I think the only good memories I have of Kandreva was it with the first season Inter had with Conte when he actually did okay at right wing back, and it was like okay, he was already old at that time, but because I remember the seasons he had with Spalletti, he didn't do shit. In that,
There was one season they finished with 0 goals.
Yeah.
I didn't mind him. With Lazio, he was good though. He was good with Lazio.
He was amazing at Lazio.
Like no issues with him. It was all because of his captaincy crap that happened with that other idiot that left for Milan, and his name is a blank now. I can't even remember.
Who, Roman? Oh no,
no,
that went the other way. That was the reverse.
Giglia, that's it. Yeah. We sold that guy for
like
30 million. That was the best deal Lazio made. My God,
that was a steal.
Oh, steal and a half. He did nothing on Milan, but yeah, that's But you know what I was watching the other day? Ashley Young, and I was thinking about his time with Inter.
Where is he now?
He's in the Championship League with Ipswich, I believe.
Oh wow!
Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure it's Ipswich. I was watching him. He comes in as a sub though, but still, gotta give it to him. The guy's like 37, 38 years old, still going. Yeah. Good for him.
No, the other day I was within the last week. Because my 7-year-old son really got into Calcio last year, and so now he wants to watch like old videos. So we were watching on YouTube like the 100 greatest Inter goals in Milan derbies, and then there was a couple of them where like Ashley Young was like on the pitch, and my son's like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, I forgot about him." Yeah, Ashley, tell him about this old English guy who spent a minute with Inter. Speaking of the Milan derby, Sharma, what's your outlook on Milan heading into this season? How do you think they may finish?
Yeah, I mean, Allegri is probably the guy I wanted post Inzaghi because I feel like he just especially compared to Kiva, would bring that experience, that stable, that stable head that just to manage the situation after that Champions League final and everything that happened. So yeah, similar to Conte last year, I think people are predicting the fact that they've got one game a week. I think that is a big factor, right? One game a week. They've got a still pretty young squad, lots of pace, counter-attacking ability in there with Leao, Pulisic, and they're looking to sign Victor Boniface now, Ricci, Yashari, Modric. Like, it's pretty... I think the back line is what worries me. It doesn't sound like a very Allegri back line with the guys there like Tomori, Pavlovic, Gabi. I feel like they need like a proper, good real centre-back there. I would try to sign. But aside from that, I'm expecting, easy top 4, if not a challenge for the Scudetto by Milan, to be honest.
Yeah, with Allegri, I could see it for sure.
Do you think the turnover is too much, though? They've integrated a lot of new players, though. The chemistry. It might take a couple of months. Yeah,
but I think Theo has left. That's definitely Stupinian coming in. But yeah, starting 11, Reinders out. the right back is going to be new. So it's probably like 3 new players in the starting 11 or 4.
Okay.
So, but usually sometimes that can help you. Like, they finished 8th last year with that lineup. So maybe they need some refresh,
It's true, especially with a new
Okay.
manager. I think having fresh faces. But last thing before we go, I'm going to hand it over to Jerry on this one because you had a question for the panel, Jerry, about national anthems before games, and it's like now. I mean, you think about there's like a bunch of national anthems that are like on the boycott list now, several different countries. So, what did you want to know, Jerry?
So 30 years ago, this guy Dennis Casey Park watched the O Canada before the Las Vegas Posse's first CFL home game of July 16, 1994.
I can't say I remember that one.
No one remembers that because I heard it on a podcast, on an Oilers podcast, and the guy just brought it up just to have fun with the pod. There's nothing to talk about in the summer for hockey. But my point is that I think that North American sports should integrate what Europe does in football. Like Champions League, they have an actual anthem for Champions League. Can you imagine you start playing different anthems at a freaking football game to cater to players and stuff? Like, I just think that all sports should go the same route, that it should just have an anthem for the league and you go right into the game. I find that a lot of time when you watch North American sports, we're wasting more time listening to the anthem, then people have to boo it, gets all political and all crap like that. And then you got to watch social media and you got what's his name? The guy who lost his career in football because he took a knee.
Kaepernick.
Kaepernick could have been a great quarterback. Instead, he got all political, lost his job for what? Like to knee to what, man? Like, so you can risk millions of dollars? Screw that, man. I'm sorry, that's not my agenda, but like,
well, listen, I'm totally with you because I'm old enough. I'm old enough to remember when playing, national anthems before games when it wasn't political as years. Like we're playing the anthem of the country, but now it's like you play national anthems. The people who like don't stand up, you judge them, or the people who do stand up get judged by the people who are anti that country. How come you didn't boo? How come you did boo? So I'm with you at this point, Sharma. I think and obviously for most European football leagues, this doesn't happen anyway. Like Jerry mentioned, you're watching a Serie A game, they play the Serie A anthem, then they get to the game, right? Your Champions League, they play the champions, and then you play the stupid game. Like we don't need to have national anthems before games because unfortunately it has gotten political.
It has. Like if you're gonna watch World Cup, I get it because you are actually representing your nation, so it makes sense. You're watching the Olympics, yes. Like when it's national teams, I get it. But I got one question left actually for our good friend Sharma. Who is your sleeper pick player of the season for Inter? Who's going to be like your surprising player, and who do you think will have the best season for Inter?
Well, I think this might be a sleeper pick for everyone outside of Inter, but I think a lot of Interisti were excited about Pio Esposito, the young striker that's came back on from loan from Spezia. He was top scorer in Serie B last year, and he looks like a stud. He's pretty much like every single time he comes on the pitch, he's somehow involved in the goal or is a threat. He's an old school bomber, Bobo Vieri style, Luca Toni style. If you watch him play, Jerry, you'll be reminded of old school Italian strikers. So Pio Esposito for sleeper pick, but not really sleeper for Interisti. And best player, I think I'm expecting a big bounce back season from Lautaro because last year he had a great Champions League season, but in Serie A, I think he finished with 12 goals. Like he was basically unfit for the first 3 or 4 months because he came back early from the Copa America and we forced him back early, and he was catching up. So this year, I'm expecting him to be fully fit, ready to go from the beginning and for MVP level season.
Well, it's his birthday today, if you didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Right, 28.
Yeah, it's his birthday today. So I would have said who's a sleeper pick for Lazio, but we didn't sign anybody. So
hey, Cancellieri is back on loan. That's a new signing.
I think he's gonna have a great season.
I hope so.
I think, like you talk about Esposito, I think Cancellieri could be in the same park where he went on 2 loans and gained a lot of experience. And Saudi this time is a big fan of him compared to the last time he had him. And so I think he could be a big sleeper pick. I agree with
He
that.
reached the threshold age now. He's 23, so he can play him.
I also think that Noslin can have a big season. I know he was very poor last year, but they signed him to be a striker. And if they play him as a striker, I think that can help. Because I'm going to be honest, Tati is hot garbage. He is, holy crap, is he garbage, man. I thought Marici was bad. This guy's Marici level, man. Like garbage, man.
First of all, was
it?
Was it Marici or Muriki? Are we changing the guy? I don't even remember. It was Muriki.
Muriki or something like that. And then you have.
But he's been killing it in Spain since he left, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he has. Sure.
He was good everywhere but Lazio, right? Because he was good when you signed him, and they just couldn't do it for Lazio.
Because if you're not a technical player and can't like adapt to different ways, and if you're a one style kind of player, you're gonna struggle in Serie A. I'm sorry, like that's just my view about it. And I think Rovella is gonna be the best player for Lazio this year.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to send a huge thank you to Uncle Sharma for joining us, and Sharma again. I make it appointment viewing, especially when Inter actually signs a player, to check out Sharma's channel. And we got the game breakdowns coming back, Sharma. So let people know where they can find you on YouTube and on social media.
Yeah, no, thank you. Just Uncle Sharma on YouTube, posts pre-match reactions for Inter and try to do Serie A as well. But no, overall, just happy to be back on this channel and this podcast, and hopefully you guys can keep it going. And obviously, Jerry, you're a busy man now with life, but I always make some time to watch you guys as well.
Grazie mille. Thank you so much, and thank you, Jerry, for taking for the time as always. You have anything to plug, Jerry? And I know I don't know. I mean, for taking time away from your 8-month-old to join us.
She's sleeping. That's when you do the podcast. You gotta be smart.
Yeah, my son's at school. That's why I'm doing the podcast now. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Make sure you.
I got nothing to plug.
Yeah, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Check us all out. Jay Mancini 8, Alex Donno is where you find me. Uncle Sharma is where you find Sharma. We'll talk to you next time on another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. Ciao.
Roma.